Yeah, I'm ready.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Mike Michaud, and this is my dear friend,
Alex Kalognomos.
Today, we're going to talk about a very important film, a very fun film, and one of the most delightful movies I've ever seen. Alex, can you tell us what it is?
The Adventures of Robin Hood.
Boy, that
music.
We'll be right back, folks. Don't go away. We're back!
We are?
We're back. Go ahead.
Welcome back to Mike and Al What the Hell. Today we're going to talk about The Adventures of Robin Hood. A film you recommended that I put off for the longest time.
Thank you.
I didn't want to see it. I couldn't be bothered. What a mistake I made. When I watched this film, I could have left it on all day.
Great film. The film stars Errol Flynn. If you don't know who Errol Flynn is, please watch this film because it is his signature film. All the other films he did were based on the fact that he created this archetype.
That's right. And if you're like me, you saw or were familiar with his later work, you saw him in a part of his life where he was already, dealing with, just his own problems, and he didn't really have a lot of reverence towards this incredible character that he created, Robin Hood. But thank God it's still around. We can all appreciate it.
It's directed by Michaud and it stars a plethora of movie stars.
Iconic actors.
Basil Rathbone.
That's right, Basil Rathbone. Olivia de Havilland, Claude Rains.
And it goes on and on and on. You'll notice a lot of character actors if you've seen a lot of old movies that are all in this movie. It's one of those movies, Alex, that everything was balanced. Yeah. The music by Korngold was
beautiful,
was an integral character in this movie, wasn't it?
That's right, it really was. And then they brought the best people in Hollywood that were working in Hollywood at that time to contribute to this film. And it had two directors, one of whom was Michael Curtiz. We actually have already reviewed his most famous film, Casablanca, on Mike and Al. It was great to be able to see a second film of his.
That's right. And this film, by the way, was made more money in Hollywood that year than any other movie. It didn't win all the awards.
No, it didn't.
But it was a populist film.
Well, it had a $2 million budget for the late 30s, and now that's like $35 million.
It was all filmed in Northern California.
It was all filmed, and they had multiple productions going on at once to get the footage that they needed, which was incredible. They had several B units shooting, and it's only the 16th color film ever to be made.
And Olivia de Havilland was one of her early films. She was only 19 in this film.
She was angelic.
And she was secretly in love with Errol Flynn.
Yeah, she really was.
She told later on that she would ask for another take on the kissing scenes because she didn't quite get it.
Well, imagine she had Errol Flynn, Hollywood's #1 heartthrob, all to herself on these remote locations. It was just them having all this fun, making these films. So
it was a wonderful film. And listen, the action in this film, and the music and the stars. Also, I thought it reflected something in Hollywood that was like being born. Because if you noticed in the film, it was all in Technicolor.
That's right.
And it was bright. And you got to imagine, up until then, films were all black and white, right? So this is like a whole nother dimension.
Oh, yeah.
It's just a fun ride film. And by the way, if you go out and buy the DVD, which I think you should. I highly recommend you should if you're a film buff. Because you can give it to your friends then and everything. Mm-hmm. In the DVD, they have a second disc where they have Olivia de Havilland and everybody giving their take years later.
Oh, it's so incredible. She talks about how much this film followed her throughout her entire life. She made it when she was 19, but it never went out of popularity. It was one of the most popular films during World War II in revival, and in every country in the world, it was always playing at some point. She saw it again with her teenage son in Paris in the mid-50s, and he said, "Mom, this film is incredible," and she hadn't even looked at it in like 15 years. So that's really a beautiful thing.
The dialogue.
Iconic language. You know that scene, that verbal jousting scene in the beginning at the banquet hall when he comes in and he
comes in carrying the deer.
Oh, it's so awesome.
Prince John is sitting there, and they've been looking for him. They want to kill him, right? Because he's been screwing up their plans to beat up people and steal the taxes. And he walks into the room. He's got a deer, and he lays it on the table. And he sits down, and he gets into this banter with
great writing like that.
And the sword fighting.
The sword fighting, swashbuckler. This is a word that you just have to know. It's a very specific type of sword fighting that they do in this film. He could do better than anybody.
Did you know Basil Rathbone did his own fencing? He was a fencer.
I can see that.
All his own swordsmanship.
They were all incredibly
And Errol Flynn
athletic.
did too.
Well trained.
Really well
Never
done.
missed their mark. Choreographed. It's just incredible.
They have this one scene where they're sword fighting in the hall, and the cinematography shifts. So now they go out of the camera angle, and you see their shadows on the wall.
Shadow behind
sword
them.
fighting.
Pure Michael Curtiz, right?
Oh,
that mood
God.
permeates this film.
2
Well,
minutes. All right, Matt. What do you think of this film? What would you give this film?
Have you seen it?
No.
Will you see it based on our
Matt, you got to see this.
excited
film.
banter?
You got 2 minutes.
Matt's wife is having a baby,
Okay.
so he doesn't have time anymore for the guys.
That's
to see
right.
the
We're all going to be
movies.
uncles soon.
That's right.
What was your what the hell moment?
What the hell moment for me was when he climbed up the wall after he escaped the archery debacle.
yes.
And he and Olivia de Havilland are having this thing. She's in love with him, but she hasn't been able to say that she's in love with him
Yeah.
because of all this trauma that's going on with Prince John. He climbs up and he hears her revealing that to the handmaiden. And he comes in, he says, I hear you love me. She says, no, I didn't. I don't love you. You
Yeah.
must get out of here. Don't you understand? I'm looking for you.
so
He says,
sweet.
But you love me. No, I don't. It was just a game. I was just faking out. Okay, can I play the game? What can I do? They go back and forth and back
honestly,
and forth.
it kind of restores its sort of sweetness. Most of
It
us are so
was.
jaded. This
It
was
was
so sweet.
charming.
And my what the hell moment was also one that was just pulled on my heartstrings. It was when in the forest, in the Sherwood Forest, when Richard the Lionheart reveals himself as the king that they were looking for and trying to protect.
Yes,
And when Robin Hood realizes that it's him, he bows down to his king. And it was so beautiful. I cried.
They're in
That
the
was my
forest,
what the hell
and King Richard has been kidnapped, but then he's back, and we don't know he's back, so
He's
he's
being
dressed as
protected.
these monks. And Robin Hood discovers that Richard is in the forest,
Yeah.
and Robin Hood has been fighting Prince John and fighting against him and using Richard's name all the time. I wish Richard would come back. And then he is. He reveals, he says, we got to find Richard, everybody. And he says, no, I'm right here.
And
And they
all
get
the
on their
merry men
knees.
get on their knees.
They bow.
What would you like to say about the fact that this is the 80th anniversary of the film this year, to 2018?
All I can say is every time I watch the film, it's like I never saw it before.
That says a lot about
I
a film.
honestly believe, please go out and buy this DVD. It's what, $9?
Yeah, especially to all
Show
of our
it to
young
your kids.
Yeah.
Show it to your kids.
kids have to see this film.
Unbelievable.
Don't wait like me and wait until you're 45 years old to
Yes.
see this film. My dad was a huge Errol Flynn fan, but he could never convince me to sit and watch this film. Well, now I'm a huge fan.
We don't have a lot of time. We got to go. Go out, see this film.
That's right.
The Adventures of Robin Hood, 1939, was it?
I thought it was 1938, but if it's 1939,
1938,
late 30s.
38, 9.
And remember to comment, like, and subscribe below.
Mike and Al.
What the
hell? That went pretty good.
You warmed up.